Greetings from Neuron Themes. We are here in the Elementor editor screen, and by the end of this lecture, we will have finished this stunning portfolio homepage. Throughout the entire video, we will uncover some tips and tricks aimed to help you speed and stream your workflow with Neuron Themes. Let's map out our design system and click on the hamburger menu located at the top left corner and press Site Settings. What's a design system, you might ask? Well, a design system is the process of defining and creating a consistent architecture, utilizing repeatable components and a set of standards guiding the use of those components. And we are going to do just that. Click on the global colors to define our 4 foundation colors that are going to be used throughout our design. Click on the color and write the hex for that color to be added. The same procedure applies with the other 3 colors. You can also add a new color, which we will show you later on this video. Next, we have global fonts, which give you control over your site's text styles. Here as well, we are going to choose the 4 basic global font styles to be persistent on your design. Now let's edit the primary style. Click on the pencil icon. From the font family, we will choose the Barlow font. We will assign a size of 26 pixels, a weight of 500, and the line height is going to be 30 pixels. The same steps will be applied on the secondary style. Let's choose the font family of Barlow. The size is going to be 16 pixels, weight of 500, and the line height is going to be set to 20 pixels, and so on. You get the point. Let's adjust the other 2 styles and speed it up a little bit. Planning is a feature that will help you ease the workflow and reduce the wasted time on things that could have been settled from the beginning. Update it, and great, it's all done. Now this is where the magic happens. Click on Theme Style, and from here, we are going to define all our heading and text to the design system we set out earlier. Simply click on the globe icon next to the text color. In here, you will see the global colors we assigned. Pick the color for the text, and that's it. Let's set the typography options for the body text. Again, click on the globe icon, and here you will see the global fonts we've created. Choose Text, and move on to the other settings. We will do the same for links and heading. Once again, the video is going to speed up, and we will have defined our design system within minutes. One major component of our design system is the style of the buttons. The site settings will allow us to create a pre-style for our buttons, and whenever you drag the element onto the page, the design will be inherited from the theme style. Choose the typography for the buttons text. Again, we will use the global styles we've created. Let's choose a text color and a background color for the button. To build sharp corner buttons, put the value of 0 in the border radius option. This will make the edges of the button sharper. And finally, we will set the padding values of the button. First, unlink the values and put the value of 15 pixels at the top and at the bottom, and the value of 26 pixels at the left and the right side of the button. The theme style will allow you to take over the global design layout that usually is handled by the theme. Besides typography and buttons, you can set the fallback styles for images and form fields as well. In order for the global fonts and colors to be inherited while working your design, you need to click on the Additional Settings option at the bottom of the page, which will redirect you to Elementor settings on the dashboard. Check the ticks next to Disable Default Colors and Disable Default Fonts, and click on Save Changes. Now you can work in peace. Let's see where we left off. Oh yes, the site identity. From here, you can set your site's name and description, as well as upload your site's logo. Remember, the changes will be visible in the preview mode only after you refresh the page. We will get to this in just a few seconds. Now, you have the background color. You can change it to this bluish color, and you've turned your website into an aquarium. But don't worry, that's what the history feature is about. which we've already introduced in our previous video. And now we'll take it into action. Here you can see all the changes that you have made during the session. To go back in time to a previous design, literally, simply click on the latest change you've made before you messed up. The revision history will have stored all the sessions that you've worked on the design. Here too, you can return to a design in the past and start from there. And if you're feeling a little tech savvy, you can add your own custom CSS that will be applied to every style on your website, and you can add it here. I wouldn't touch that if I were you, unless you know your way around CSS and codes. In that case, the floor is all yours. Click Update to save your changes, and you should be done with the design system once and for all. Now we will start building our portfolio website. Let's start with the header. Let's create a new template for the header. Tip alert! You can use the Elementor Finder to navigate between pages with just a click. Let's transport ourselves into the header template editor. And as per usual, our stunning library of pre-made templates is a sight for sore eyes. Choose one of the stunning lead blocks and insert them with just a click. Let's use this one. Let's make some slight changes here and there. Note that the menu is built using the nav menu element that pulls content dynamically from the database. So if you have already created your menus in the WordPress dashboard, here you can simply choose the menu you want to display. If you haven't created one, then what are you waiting for? Now let the building games begin. We will start with a hero. Let's add a section. We will need to set the height to fit the screen. No further adjustments for now. Let's drag the animated heading element, which is an attention seeker component, to add to your headline. It provides a cool transition of text from the viewport down. Once again, some configurations are necessary. Set the style to animated, and we will need to type in our text in the designated field. Let's add a button right under our animated heading element. Once again, you drag the element onto the editing screen, and you will notice the design we applied in the theme style was inherited. This is particularly helpful for when designing all your pages. But for this design, we will need to style our button a little for the sake of composition. Let's change the button text to something like View Our Work. Done with the Content tab, let's see what the Styles tab holds. We will tweak the typography option, all of which were pre-designed in site settings. Now, all we need to do is click on the global icon and choose the style of H6. Set the color for the text. Once again, we will use the global colors we've set earlier. Let's use the color we assigned for text. Now, for the background color, we will reduce the transparency to lose the current style of the button. And lastly, we will add the value of 0 to the button's padding. This will remove the excess space on the button. Now watch this. Let's add a new column right next to this one. Click on the column's handle. From here, you can edit the main configurations of the column. And the same rule applies to sections as well. Click on Add a new column, and it's there. Now let's drag an image element and upload our image. Set the size to full. This is where all the fun stuff happens. We will add some cool animations that's guaranteed to leave you speechless and have your users gaze at wonder. Hang on tight, because what we're about to show you is some type of advanced stuff. First, go to the Advanced tab and click on Motion Effects. Switch the handle on for mouse effects. Click on the mouse track icon to configure the settings. We will need to set the speed to 0.5 value so it creates a smooth mouse track animation. And to top it all off, let's add an entrance animation for our illustration. Let's choose the Fade in Up animation. Set the animation delay to slow and enter the value of 300 for the animation delay. And that's perfect. Watch how the illustration reacts to mouse movements. Almost addicting. The drag and drop interface will follow you throughout your entire experience with Elementor and Neuron themes. You can change the width of the column if you simply drag it left or right to set its value. Let's drag the column until we have the width of 55% value for the first column, thus leaving the second column the width value of 45%. Let's go back to the section to configure some more values. Click on the section's handle to open the Options panel. From here, go to the Advanced tab. Now we shall add some margin and padding values to our section. Let's add some top margin value of -120. Let's see what we've done so far. This looks amazing. And our animation? It sure does spark some engagement and movements in our hero section. Let's go ahead and add another section in which we will showcase our clients that we've worked so far. This is going to serve as our container. Click on the columns handle. From there, click on the Styles tab and let's add some color to the section. Choose a background type to classic and select our distinct blue color. And as per usual, we are going to add some padding values for the column's inner spacing. Let's put the value of 44 to the top and bottom and the value of 100 to the left and right side of the column. We will add an inner section, which will help us create ingrained columns within the section. Let's choose a structure for the inner section. You can always use the drag and drop intuitivity, but let's select a pre-made structure, as this is the one we're aiming for. We will need to set the columns gap to no gap and set the vertical line to middle. Next drag in heading element, which will describe our section, set the HTML tag to H6. We'll assign the color to our text. Now watch this. We've already worked our way around global colors from the size settings interface. Now, if you wish to add another global color, but you don't want to wander back and forth between the editing screen and site settings, pick a color. Click on this plus icon that says Create New Global Color. Name your color and click on Create. And that's it. Want to see something cool? You can edit the element's content directly from the editing screen. All the changes will be instantly produced. You don't need to blink twice, like the text of our heading here. For the next column, we will add the gallery element and we will upload our client's images. Before we make any other configuration, let's switch this to a carousel and adjust its settings. Go to the Styles tab and set the space between the image to 65 value. Let's click on the sections handle, go to the Advanced tab, and set a value of -115 to the top margin. This might sound a little unorthodox, but for the next section, we will show the services that the artist of this portfolio will provide. You will be guaranteed to stand from the crowd. Now let's add a section. The column gap will need to be set to wider. Go to the Advanced tab and add some top and bottom padding values of 90 and 70 pixels. Search for the icon box to settle the section. Select an icon. You can choose one from the library or upload your own SVG. And we are going with the latter option. Let's type in the title and description and let's set the HTML tag. Now, we will duplicate the column twice to show 3 columns of services here. Let's style our icon boxes. Go to the Styles tab and set the spacing between the icon and the title to 24 pixels. Set the size of the icon to 60 pixels. Set the spacing between the title and the description to 14 pixels and tweak the typography options. We've styled the first column. To ease the process, let's click on the columns handle and copy the style of the first column. Now, let's paste the style to the other 2 columns. This is all too simple. This entire tutorial is a compilation of cool tips and tricks, and we are about to show you another one from our magic book. Let's preview our next section. It's all starting to fall into place neatly. It was about time we added our portfolio onto the page. At the end of the day, this is what really matters. To do that, let's first set up our section. Set the content width for the section to 1300 pixels. Next, click on the columns handle and set the widget space to the value of 70. Go to the Styles tab, choose the background tab to be set to classic and set its color. Go to the Advanced tab and add some padding values. We're almost there. Drag in a heading element, set the HTML tag, and align it to the center. From the Styles tab, set the text color to white. Let's create a global font style. The same principle that we used on creating a new global color will be applied to creating a new global typography. Choose the font family, set the style. Click on the plus icon, name your typeface, and click on Create. Search for the post element and drag it onto the page. And the reason for this is that it will offer us a great amount of flexibility to build the exceptional design you saw a sneak peek earlier. The post element is one of many that will add dynamic content to the page. The content will be extracted from the database or from other pages and will be displayed here. Before we started recording this video, we went ahead and added our portfolio items and their respective data like the title, image, category, and so on. In case you haven't done that, try and catch us where we left off with the design. This is the focal point from where our portfolio website will shine through. First things first, let's go to the Query tab and select the source of our post item to be extracted from the portfolio item, and order them by ascending order. Now we can make all the changes we wish to make, starting from the Layout tab. Let's switch this to Carousel. Set the Slice per View to Auto, and the content width will take the value of 70 pixels. The image will need to be positioned left. Click on the Carousel settings and have the navigation be led by dots. Set the image size to full and the image width to 400 pixels. Set the HTML tag to H1 and let's hide the excerpt while we're at it. From the metadata, delete the author and comments. Only leave on display the term portfolio category. The Read More button will need to be changed to something like Show Project. Now let's style and design our portfolio. Set the space between the portfolio items to 60. Open the Box tab and set the content padding values. Click on the Image tab and set the spacing to 0. The content will need to be tweaked as well, and we will start with the title. Set the color and set the typography options. The font family will be Barlow. The size will be of 80 pixels. The weight of the font will need to be 700 and the line height to 1 em. The same process will be applied to the metadata and the Read More text. We will slightly tweak the typography option in its settings. Pair those adjustments to your likings. Next on, we have navigation. Let's add a dash of sophistication with this one. From the Styles option, choose Progress. Add some spacing of 60 pixels. Pick a color and configure its style settings. Let's choose a color for the hover state that distincts how far along the portfolio item a user has gone through. Lastly, on Styles tab, we have the Allow Order option. Switch the option to Yes and start arranging the portfolio elements. We will set the metadata to be displayed before the title of the portfolio. A simple drag and drop interface will do it. Let's see what we've done so far. It's absolutely breathtaking. Let's go ahead and finish this design. But first, we need to match our portfolio section and our client section in width, since this does not look cool. Click on the client section's handle to open its panel and set the content width to be 1300 values in pixels. It's the same width we set for the portfolio section as well. For the next section, we'll be displaying some of our latest blog posts. Let's add a new section, assign the proper configurations, and set a background color. We will use the secondary global color that we've created, and as per usual, let's visit the Advanced tab. First, we'll add some padding, unlink the values, and set separate values for all sides of the section. Now, we will add margins, but for this time, we will add some top negative 200 pixels margin to the section. This will allow the section to move on top of our portfolio section, but this does not look good. Let's introduce a new concept to this video. Meet the z-index. The logic behind the z-index is that the element with a greater stack order is in front of an element with a lower stack order. Following that logic, we need to assign our portfolio section a larger z-index value than our latest post section value. Click on the section's handle, go to Advanced, Z-index, and put the value of 9. This looks much better. To establish our post section, we will first need to drag an heading element onto the page. Let's align it to the center. Go to the Style tab and set the text color to white. Don't forget to tweak the typography option. Using the inline editing, enter the name of the section to latest posts. And the last tab, let's edit the column and add some widget space to the value of 44. Let's drag the post element onto the page. See the dynamic content displayed? These are the blog posts that we've created. What the element does, it extracts them from the WordPress database and displays them here. Let's style them a little bit. First thing would be to turn on the carousel option, and let's configure the settings. Set the navigation to dots. Now let's configure the rest of the settings. We will need to hide the excerpt. We will show the metadata, but we only need the date. On that note, let's hide the Read More button for a more minimal style. Let's head over to the Styles tab and set the space between the posts to 60. Let's configure the box and add some border width of the value of 1. Also, some content padding value will need to be set. Unlink the values and put 40 pixels to the top and bottom and 32 pixels to the left and right side of the box. To make a seamless blend of the post element onto our design, let's reduce the transparency for the border color. Go to the hover state and set the border color to white. This will create a smooth hover effect that will resemble the minimalistic style we were aiming for from the beginning. Let's configure the content. First off, we have the title. Set the color, the typography, which will be set to primary, the style that we've created on our design system earlier, and add some spacing of 32 pixels in value. We will configure the metadata content as well. Set the color, the typography from global styles and colors. And last on, we have the navigation. This will require some slight changes as well. Bear with us. Excellence is in the details, they say. Add some spacing of 80 pixels. Set the color to white as well as the border color. From the Style Configuration option, set the padding to the value of 3 and the border width to the value of 1. And finally, the space between the dots will need to be set to the value of 10. Let's create a nice hover effect for the navigation as well. Let's reduce the transparency to make the active slide distinguishable from the rest of the navigation. Let's preview once again how our design was put together, and it seems fantastic. We have finally arrived at the last part of our portfolio, the footer. Let's add the same magic trick we performed at the beginning of the design. Using the Elementor Finder, search for Add New Footer, and just like that, we will be transported to the Footer Template Editor. I know it seems like déjà vu, but once again, the Neuron library will be at your service, always offering a bountiful number of pre-made blocks for easy integration. Let's select one of them. Let's make some slight changes to the design to acquire to our style. First off, the content width will need to be set to the value of 1300 value and increase the padding value for the section. We will need to change the content. Once again, inline editing comes to the rescue. You can use the shortcuts to make your text italic or bold. When you're feeling confident with the final result, click on Publish and that will open the Conditions tab. Your footer can be assigned to the entire site or choose a more specific page or taxonomy. Click on Publish again and your footer will be joining the rest of the sections we've created, thus assembling the exceptional design you're witnessing. We're pleased with how this turned out, and hopefully you're too. Stick around with us for the next video, where we will be sharing how to create a full single portfolio page to link to our main portfolio home design. Until the next video, be safe.